back in the shop and we are going to continue working on the TJ.
Here I have a dot on both sides marked with a permanent marker, and this is where we're actually going to be cutting the 4.5 inch hole. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to drill a pilot hole. I'm going to get this centered and close enough, and I'm going to go ahead and drill this out. That way I don't have to wear and tear on my pilot bit on the hole saw. All right, so now he has the 4.5 inch hole saw, and if you've never used one of these when you're drilling through pretty thick metal, it does kind of suck just a little bit. But anyway, just kind of got to embrace the suck sometimes and just do it. So you can see right here that we have the 4.5 inch hole drilled in the back of the TJ. You can see all the metal shavings on the ground, and of course the 4.5 inch piece of metal down there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a file and we're going to go all around this hole right here, because you can see there are some jagged edges and we don't want that cutting into that rubber bushing on the tail light. So we're going to hit that with a file, and then we're going to take some spray paint and just go all the way around, or maybe some automotive touch-up paint. That way this doesn't rust. And then while that is drying, we are going to drill out this side. So the paint is drying on this one right here, and now he is going to start drilling this second one out. So now that I have the passenger side tail light hole cut out and filed and painted, waiting for it to dry, I'm going to go ahead and take care of these little rubber tire bumpers, whatever they're called. And I think they are a T27. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm going to use. The rear of the Jeep looks better already. All right, so we got both the tail lights in. Steven wired them in, so they probably won't work, but so to kind of match everything on the back, what we plan on doing is putting the Motobilt Armor right here. We haven't cleaned it, we haven't sanded it down. This is how it came out of the box. And we did go with the 3/16 steel. So, you know, we're gonna color match it with the armor right here. So that way everything on the back kind of matches and looks like super cool. But it's a little too cold to be painting this stuff today. It's like 40 degrees in my shop right now. So we did put the Jeep up in the air, and we did have to get the skid plate on the ground right there. We had to get it out of the way just because, you know, that skid plate is made to protect everything up under here. So in order to get this end of the drive shaft to the transfer case, we had to get it out of the way. But, so now I'm gonna go ahead and throw this up here. So for the front of the drive shaft here, I'm going to be using these U-bolt straps, and these are from O'Reilly's, and they always almost fit. So sometimes you do have to give them a little love tap just to get them to go in. So then what you do on the back side of that U-bolt is you put the locking washer and the nut on. So I got all these tight and they are ready to go. So now we can get the massive skid plate back on. And of course I'm by myself. But anyway, we'll try to get this on. Got the Jeep down off the lift. It's on its own weight. And so what I'm gonna do now is probably start on the tailgate armor. And what I believe that we have to do is that we have to take the tailgate off, or at least I'm going to, and get the tailgate on the table and then put the armor on and then put everything back on the Jeep. Get my specialty Torx driver right here. And then I'll grab a trusty hammer and we'll get those bolts right out. If you've never used one of these are awesome. They're definitely a must if you have one of these TJs, but what you do is you get the correct size torque bit on the inside and you come right here, make sure it's in there pretty good. And then, so what I'm doing is I'm pulling back, not much, but just enough that there is some pressure. And then you just kind of just taps. Just like that. So I've broke these bottom two loose, and then I'll get these top ones, we'll get them all out, and we'll get the tailgate off. All right, so it should come right off at this point. Cool. The first thing I'm going to do is put the armor up here. And just try to kind of make sense of it all.
looks like these holes line up with the bolt holes on the tailgate. There. And then it looks like the only ones that I'm going to have to drill and put rib nuts are right here. Let's see, it looks like it needs to come over just a little bit for that handle. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So I only have to do 2 of them. That's really convenient. Nice. So I've got to find this hardware. Ah, crap. Hold on. All right, we're gonna see what comes with the Motobilt kit here. Ah. So it looks like it only comes with the nut zerts here. So I'm gonna have to find the hardware that went into this, or find some matching hardware. Okay, that's fine. So I've pretty much got this thing as straight as I can, and just because I want it to look good whenever it's on the back of the Jeep. And it looks like everything is level. So, like I said, the only holes that I'm going to be drilling that I see are these 2 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a mark right in the center. Just like that. And I'll do another one right here. So now what I'll do, now that I know where I'll be drilling my 2 holes, I'll get this out of the way, drill the holes, and then we'll put it back on and tighten it up and make sure that it looks good. I'm going to be putting some paint on the exposed bare metal here, and what I use is just like it's just like some gloss black auto paint, auto touch-up paint. All right, so now I'm going to take the nut zerts and just drop them right in like so, just like that. So now I'll be using my nut zert tool, and what you do here is just open it all the way up and just turn the threads a couple of times, just like so. Now I'm just going to pull it together very slow and get a couple of more bites on that thread. Pull it back all the way. And then I'll do a couple more turns. Just like that. Try one more. Yeah, that's it. Haha! Just like that. So I'll do the same thing for the top one here. Go ahead and turn it about 3/4 of the way. Go ahead and pull it just a little bit. So before I put the armor on the tailgate, I'm going to paint it. And before I paint it, I'm going to get all this nasty oil. See that right there? Yeah, can't paint that. So I'm just taking some brake cleaner, and I'm just going to go over this pretty good, just to kind of get that nasty oil off. Oh yeah. See, look at that. Gross. So before I put any paint or primer or anything on this, I'm actually going to go over this with a orbital sander. Just so you can see these scratches and kind of imperfections. Camera how much better this looks, but it looks better. So I'm going to probably do the same thing to the other side, and I may go ahead and put a light coat on tonight and let it sit 24 hours, and then I may put another thin coat on when I get home from work, and then tomorrow night we'll be able to throw this on. Alright, so it is the next night, and you can see here in my paint booth right here, I have the armor all painted up and ready to go on the back of the tailgate. And you can see this laid down really nicely. It could be because I did a lot with preparation, or it could be the super nice paint booth I got here, but either way I think it turned out great. I'm going to go ahead and start getting some hardware in here, and they did send some extras, and they do fit right into the factory threads, so that's pretty convenient. I have the tapered Allen head nuts on there, and what that kind of did, whenever I would tighten it up right here, it would kind of just self-center it, and it looks like I did a pretty good job. So what I'm going to do, I don't have these cranked down super tight yet. I'm going to get this on the Jeep, and what I'm really looking for is that it lines up on this line right here. Just because it could be lined up on this perfect, but then when I put it on the Jeep, it's way off, and I really don't want that. So I'm going to try to put it on here. I'm going to go ahead and start slowly tightening these up. And I'm not going crazy tight or anything like that. Just enough where it won't back off. I feel like this armor definitely helps bring together the rear of this Jeep. I am working on getting a plate made for down here, but this is super smooth. and I think it looks really good. And we're not done right here. We do have some stuff that, you know, we're going to put something on the back, and then of course we got to get a rear bumper, but this is definitely a huge improvement. Here's another angle of it right here. And it doesn't really stick out far or anything like that. All right, so we are actually about to road test the TJ for the very first time. So wish us luck. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I really appreciate y'all watching us get the TJ back together and getting it on the road. Hopefully the next time that you see this Jeep on the channel, it'll be on a trail or doing something cooler than being worked on and sitting in my shop. Things that we still have to do to it, we do need a locker in the rear, and it does need exhaust and an alignment. The thing that it needs is I need to get it to the fairgrounds where I can actually test out the suspension and make sure that everything is working good. We have, you know, in the shop, whenever we were building it, we did flex everything out with the wheels and tires off of it, but we just want to make sure in the real world application that the suspension works the way that we want it to. In a video coming up, I will be doing another Jeep build that we're going to be kind of going head to head on these. I'll be introducing that Jeep here shortly. So make sure that you like and make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on any of the content on that. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next one.